Well, when it comes to bad news, there was some very discouraging news for Jesus' disciples. Marshall already talked about Good Friday. I mean, imagine the feelings. Imagine the hopes that were dashed and the discouragement. I mean, you're following Jesus. You believe He's the Messiah. He's the promised one. He's gonna rescue Israel. He's gonna restore God's kingdom on earth. And you're following Him, and miraculous signs are all around Jesus. His teaching is powerful. Multitudes of people come together every time Jesus is gonna preach or teach. I mean, it is an exciting thing to be in the inner circle of Jesus' ministry, and then for the disciples, it all comes crashing down. They're together for a prayer vigil. Jesus is arrested. In the middle of the night, He goes through a sham trial. He's found guilty of some trumped-up charges, and He is quickly put to death. And let's be clear about something. He was successfully executed. He was successfully put to death. I mean, the Romans really knew what they were doing when it came to crucifixions. So He is medically deceased. He is clinically dead. And there they are. What are we going to do now? Bad news. And then the great news that came a couple of days later. On a Sunday morning like this one, as Jesus comes out of the grave. And He's not a ghost. He's not a spirit. He is a body. He's living. The text relates how He's eating breakfast with His disciples. He's around them again. And it is an unbelievable last chapter to the story. And in a way, a first chapter to us of this story of Jesus. This good news. And people who call themselves disciples of Jesus around the world today are celebrating Easter Sunday, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus, because we believe that no matter how much bad news you're hearing, no matter how deep the hole you're in, no matter how deeply you've dug that hole, and no matter how dark it is, Jesus, because of His resurrection power, can lift you out of that. And so many of us are amazing examples here this morning of incredible life change, of dramatic change because of the power of the resurrection of Jesus. The first thing that I want you to remember this morning, and I think we saw that in the video, is that Easter reminds us that I don't have to live in the past. Okay? I'm not a slave of bad choices, of terrible choices, of mistakes of my past. I can experience a radical life change because of Easter, because of the power of Jesus Christ. Second thing, on this line of thought, number 2 this morning, Easter gives me the courage to face any challenge. Any challenge. Think of it this way. If you believe in Easter, if you believe in this story of Jesus that culminates in Easter, then you believe that a virgin named Mary conceived a child. You believe that she gave birth to a child who was the incarnation of the God of the universe. And you believe that this God who we serve, that He ate with us, that He walked with us, that He was in the marketplace with us, that He was alongside, that He climbed into our hole, that He was not content to just live in glory with all the privileges and the perks of heaven, but that He emptied Himself and came to be one of us. And then He was arrested, put on trial, killed, and the grave could not hold Him. You believe in that if you believe in Easter. Over 2 billion people around the world are celebrating Easter today because Jesus raised from the dead. And what this means is whether it's in a dark, dark place, the bottom of a hole, an African AIDS clinic, a cancer ward, whether it's in a deep depression, whether it's in a bad marriage, we believe that Jesus can change any situation to the glory of God. If Jesus can take a cross and the shame and the pain of that moment, the humiliation, and turn it into a victory, He can do anything. He can do anything. He can take what's dead and He can raise it to life. The third thing you believe, all right, because of Easter, is that Easter gives us the assurance that death does not have the last word. Death is not going to have the last laugh. Death is not going to write the final chapter for you in Jesus Christ. If you believe in Easter, then you believe that Jesus is right at this moment preparing a place for you by His side in paradise. In a world of bad news, Easter is good news because you and I know the final score.